Who wants to be king?
Welcome to the War Room, fam. I shouldn't be making this video. Today is my birthday, and I couldn't sleep last night because my heart is heavy with burden and grief. And not for any other reason than it being painfully obvious of how right I've been about the state of this manosphere, red pill bullshit, and the black community, specifically young black men. This whole fresh and bullshit that has come about has really illuminated a lot of things. And what's going on, what's being exposed, not just with the two clowns in question, but more importantly, the young men that follow them. I've made several videos on this topic, on this specific point that I'm going to make right now, and for whatever reason, my ruler, my guide, my God, moved me not to post them. For whatever reason, it's been one of the hardest downloads or uploads to put up, because I didn't understand what the problem was. I've got it all the way to the upload on the YouTube, and midway through I've canceled it twice. And I didn't understand why that was happening, but I follow that voice. And since that's happened, there's been a lot of things transpire that have been unnerving and very concerning. The things that are coming out about these two fraudulent dudes, what they've done to the women that they've treated very badly. It's absolutely disgusting. Any real man, any man of any value whatsoever cannot look at that stuff and be okay with it at all. And when your leaders are losers, that's what you are when you stay in those ranks. Anyone who's left in that community, in that specific fresh and fake community, all of you niggas peas sitting down just like your rulers. All of y'all hoes, man. But it's not your fault. And I know that that's gonna enrage a lot of you and move you to do the same dumb shit that has really made me certain that I had to make this video. I was commenting on this mess on another Duke and Shay, or Duke and, I don't know, I'll link the video down below. But he exposed the Anaquin fitness, all that stuff, and then the text message that the 360 goofball, the real ass nigga, sent this woman, not for himself, but for another dude. And that in itself is vaginal hoe shit to me, to have to go speak for another man on both ends. But it exposes a lot. But that's beside the point. That's beside the point. That's a story in itself. But I commented on this video, and I was talking to Duke. And I was talking to him, and I was talking in particular about these little half gay niggas running behind these dudes and fighting their war for them, taking up for them. And one of them decided to come at me, and YouTube wouldn't let me say what I wanted to say back to him. And for whatever reason, YouTube allowed him to make threats of shooting me. So Fresh and Fit have their little crash dummy punks running into people's channels that are clowning their clowns, calling them clout chasers, call me a clout chaser. Any of you who have been here for a while know damn good and well that I don't give a shit about clout. That's why I don't go in and make these reaction videos like they like to do in the Black Manosphere, looking at celebrities and people on a status that they'll never reach, while they're propagating their kids and their young men that are looking for guidance to look at Future and Dr. Dre and all of these people that live on a whole different planet as examples to back up their bullshit. And it's amazing to me how these spaces, they divide themselves up, but men are men. This idea of there being a black manosphere and a white manosphere, and at the same time, people want to do away with racism and prejudice, but motherfuckers can't stop slicing their own little piece of shit so they can have exclusivity and have this whole game. But when you look at the whole manosphere red pill shit, it's all toxic, dumb, locker room, junior high little boy shit. But these kids, this kid being willing to put himself in harm's way with all the technology that we have, this little motherfucker thinks that he's safe running his mouth off on the internet like somebody couldn't reach out and touch him if they wanted to. And you know, when that happened, I couldn't say what I wanted to say. Every time I tried to respond, YouTube blocked my comment. And I don't know why. I don't understand why the algorithm allowed this dude to invite me to where he stays. And I'm not gonna say the city. I'm not gonna give the dude any shine right now. Not because I'm worried about, let's just say, I don't want the little motherfucker to move. All right? So what we have is a real good example of what I've talked about in every video when I'm speaking about the BLM bullshit and all of the stuff that's happened over the last 2 years. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. And the problem that I have with this whole space, these dudes slice off of Black Manosphere. I'm black, but the shit that I talk about is real. It's real shit. It's real problems. And instead of dealing with the real shit, it's way easier, like I said, to be a fucking victim and play part of that role. And while not everybody is diving into that, there's been nobody, not any motherfucker in that space tell the truth like me. And I'm just saying, the problem that I have is all these fake ass red pill dudes. They want to make their own little spaces, like Homo Tomasi shit. And then you just got different factions. They click up, they all say the same stuff, but then they have the nerve to look at what Fresh and Fit has done and act like that's exclusive. All the red pill shit's toxic. Just because the Crash Dummies and Rolos faction aren't making death threats and doing that, they still troll. Those cowards still low-key, dry snitch style get their people to go and do their bidding for them because they're cowards, man. They're cowards. What they'll say is it doesn't bother them, or they don't want to give the person shine. Some bullshit. But the kings never go to war. The kings in this space never go to war. And then they use some fluffy shit like, oh man, listen, man, back in the old days, the kings went to war. The kings are gonna go to war right now. We gotta call this shit out for what it is. We're making these factions of men and young boys are absorbing this sick ideology, and it's become a cult. Watching Abba try to talk to that young degenerate that sent that girl that message, it was hard to watch. It was hard to watch the cognitive dissonance that this little boy, he'd refuse to look at reality. What these guys have done to these kids is wrong. It's absolutely wrong. And I've gotten so many messages from young men that are broken. They're heartbroken because these guys fuck these dudes over, man. I can't put it any other way. They absolutely turn these little boys out. Watching that little 360 fruitcake kid, it reminded me of watching little young dudes getting turned out when I was in the penitentiary. The way that kid moves, I wouldn't be surprised if one of both of those clowns hadn't tampered with that boy. That's real talk. The way that kid did, just the way his loyalty to those dudes, his willingness to ride for those dudes, that is exactly what happens. That's exactly how dudes who turn little punks out in a penitentiary, that's how them little punks move, man. And all of these dudes that are going to war, still defending these two clowns, that's exactly how they act. All these, this fake feminine energy where they're willing to go to the penitentiary, or get dealt with in the most drastic way. It's sad, and it's almost scary that this is allowed. And anybody, in my opinion, anybody who defends these dudes, anybody who collaborates with these dudes, anybody who does anything in favor of these guys, they're complicit. They all fit the same narrative. I've seen several people who have stood up for these guys, especially in the black manosphere, that stood up for these guys now that the truth is coming out, and it's all about clout. Nobody has the balls to say anything because they're afraid to lose something. See, I'm not trying to gain anything from this. If I reap benefit from anything off of YouTube, it's going to come from the man upstairs. It is not going to come from me manipulating and lying to the people who watch me. So, those of you who have exfilled from that, I salute you. You made the right choice for your life. And you landing on this channel, that was a blessing. Go through my old videos. I've been talking to you men and boys for a couple of years now. You guys just weren't here. The information is back in my old videos. The Uncommon Man series is a good place to start. This whole red pill manosphere, all of this bullshit needs to be shattered. And these two clowns, Frodo and Flip Flop, you niggas peace sitting down. You need to quit fronting. And you having these kids put themselves out there make you niggas bigger hoes than I thought you were.
Who wants to be king?